housing, higher density housing, the biggest shortfall has been single family housing. We typically build about 1 million single family homes a year, have for a long time. We didn't build 1 million single family homes up until right around the pandemic. Multifamily housing, which we build about 350,000 a year, has actually been running above that level. Now, mind you, we had millennial generation coming of age. We had a back to the city movement. We had a multifamily stock that was old and needed to be replaced. But really, I think one thing that's underappreciated is we need to have more single-family housing of various types to support people who want to have entry-level home ownership. Here's another way to look at this. So this chart is showing you the supply of just single-family housing, and the stacked bars are entry-level home ownership. The orange is 1,400 square foot homes or less. The green is manufactured housing. The yellow are townhomes, and the blue are condos. The line is showing you the share of all single-family production in small homes. Back in 2000, they were about half of the housing production. They're now down to about 42%. We're not building small single-family homes. And I think we need to look at our zoning and building codes and say, are we making it hard to build those homes? But we're also not placing nearly as much manufactured housing. Townhomes are an important part of that supply. And the condo market is the one that's been most moribund. It's only about 5% of multifamily starts. It used to be 40%. So thinking about what are the regulatory structures that may be inhibiting these types of small entry-level home ownership are going to be really important. And let me take a look as I close out here with the demographic outlook. So one of the things the Joint Center is known for is doing a household forecast, taking a look out the next 10, 20 years, how many new households are we going to have? Just a couple weeks ago, we released our latest update. So the blue bars are showing you here what the average household growth had been by decade going back to the 1990s, and these are in millions. So in the 1990s, we added 1.4 million households. In the first part of this decade, of this century, 1.1 million. Over the last 10 years, 1 million households. So with that, when you think about 20%, 30% more housing units to accommodate that growth in households, we need 1.3, 1.4 million housing units a year. We've been running short of that lately, but look where we're going. In the next decade, we expect household growth is going to be 900,000 a year. Why is it declining? In this forecast, it's declining mostly because of the aging of the baby boom generation. The next generations are pretty large, but they're not compensating for the dying off, essentially, of the baby boom generation. And these numbers assume net international immigration of 800,000 to 900,000 a year. If that number falls, then we're going to see lower numbers than that. And suddenly building 1 million housing units a year as a country is going to be sufficient. So as the demand picture changes, the need for supply is going to change as well. And if you look at the next 10 years, a household formation of only 500,000, we have not had household growth that low in more than a century. So we're looking at a period of time over the next 2 decades where household growth is going to slow dramatically, even if immigration stays at the levels it's been over the last 10 years or 20 years. If it falls, we're going to have even lower household growth. And we're going to have a very different dynamic in the housing market. Now, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but this is something we really need to keep our eye on. And I think the other piece of this is what's the age structure of that population? So the left-hand side is showing you the 10-year increments and the number of households. The right-hand side is showing you the change. The things that stand out here are, first of all, the oldest households, households over age 75. Look at on the right-hand side, that growth in those bars. And on the left-hand side, we're going to see a growth of households over 75 of 7.5 million over the next 10 years. That's almost all of the new household growth on net will be among older households. Are we prepared to house those households? Are we prepared to house those households with the services they need to live healthy lives? The other piece of this is the growth is going to be in those 35 to 54. So the millennial generation is really going to start, going to add to the growth of those middle-aged, early middle-aged households. Again, when I see this, I say we're still going to have strong demand for home ownership. We're going to have strong demand for people who are going to want to have more single-family housing typologies. On the youngest age groups, we're going to see decline. So we're going to see decline in rental demand over the next 20 years. So I think thinking about what we're doing today, but having a longer-term vision is important. Not just what's the problem today, what's the issue going to be in 5 years. So we're sometimes called the Joint Center for Gloom and Doom. but we try to tell it like it is. And so I think these are important issues. I think you're all wrestling with them, but hopefully this will be something that will be informative for you as you go forward. I'm doing a session with Mayor Gunther later this afternoon. We can share what you're working on and learn more about your solutions to housing, because it is the issue. Thank you all. I appreciate you letting me be here.
Please remain seated. Our program will resume shortly.
Just get so crazy, living life gets harder too. And I would gladly hit the road, get up and go if I knew that someday it will lead me back to you. That someday it will lead me back to you. That may be all I need. In darkness she is all I see. Come and rest your bones with me.
Good afternoon. Our next session, From Investment to Impact, the role of mayors in supporting women-owned businesses, will explore how strategic investments by mayors in small businesses drive innovation, strengthen local economies, and empower women entrepreneurs. This conversation is presented by the USCM Women Mayors Leadership Alliance. Please welcome Albany Mayor Kathy Sheehan, Chair of the Alliance, and Fontana Mayor Aquanetta Warren, Vice Chair of the Alliance.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is wonderful to be here to talk about the role that mayors can play in helping and supporting women-owned businesses. We have a bit of a truncated schedule here because there's someone who's supposed to be coming to speak.
Yes.
Anyway.
And it's not me.
But listen, we know that small businesses are the backbone of our communities. They make up 63% of new jobs. They employ nearly half of the people in our cities. And women are starting to start more small businesses. The number of new businesses started by women in 2019 was around 30%. It's nearly 50% in 2023. So we just want to highlight a couple of ways that we've worked to support those women-owned businesses. And one of the businesses in my city that we were able to help was a woman who, she makes handbags, she's a designer, but she's a manufacturer, right? She has machinery and things that she has to use, and when she went to start her business, she got sticker shock when she found out how much the insurance was going to cost because she was a manufacturer. And so we were able to help her out with our American Rescue Plan funding and the small business grants that we gave to help her to offset that cost so that she could get her business started. And it's really listening to those business owners, because sometimes I think we know what they need, but when you really sit down and talk to them, I never would have thought about insurance. And so really working with those small businesses and those women who don't necessarily have the same connections to banks, to attorneys and those resources has been really important, and it's worked really well in the city of Albany. But Mayor Warren, what about what you're doing in Fontana?
We are on overload. We have a theme in Fontana. It's called Fontana's Open for Business. And this young lady that we've been working with is the epitome of what that stands for. She's working out of her garage in her kitchen doing cookies. She does personalized cookies now. But we're leveraging all of our resources toward making sure that people like her are successful. We have a Fontana Empowerment Loan Program, which is not just come and get a grant, not just come get the loan. We provide the resources from AMPAC, which is a group that works directly with businesses to understand their spreadsheets, understand staffing levels, all of the tools that a business needs. And it's so wonderful that in this time space, women are taking charge of probably employing over 30% of the workforce in the United States. So these are exciting times.
Well, another business that we had in Albany that we think is really going to take off and employ a lot of folks is a woman-owned business. They made an insert that you use in diapers that is reusable. And so when the pandemic hit, and everybody needed their protective gear, they realized that the same process that they used to make these diapers, they could use to make gowns. And that, she patented it.
Right.
And is on the road to getting FDA approval. Our local hospital, which is a regional trauma center, projects that they're going to save $3 million a year in supply costs by purchasing these gowns. And she stopped me, literally, I think I was walking down the sidewalk, and she was almost in tears because she was losing her office space. And she said, you know, our landlord is kicking us out. We can't find space. And so we were able to find space for her in an incubator that the city had helped to fund, again with American Rescue Plan funding, an expansion of it. And it was the perfect timing. She has moved into that space, and she'll tell anybody and everybody, Mayor Sheehan saved my business because, but it was, you know, I didn't save her business, but we were able to work with her and find that space and demystify the whole process for her. And so it has helped her to really focus on her business and move at a much faster pace to launch that business than what she had expected.
You know, speaking of office space, we're redoing our entire downtown. I call it Uptown. They've already called it the Forge District. As a result of that, we're going to have a lot of office space and a lot of spaces for restaurants and bars and all those things. Yes, I said bars. You need that stuff. So what we're doing is working with this one lady that does these platters where you can get the salami and the cheese and all of those pistachio nuts. I just named off my favorites. And as a result, she came up to my office and met with our great assistants, Wendy, and told her all about her business. And now we're actually going to have them move into one of those spaces. She'll have the opportunity where people during lunchtime can come and get them a little platter and get the little foods on there that they like. You get off work, you don't want to cook for the fam, or you're having a party, and don't even mention parties. She puts apricots and prunes on there. I'm big on that too. Everything you need to facilitate the party. And it's all about presentation. I'm not trying to say the men folk don't know what they're doing, but you know, we females, when we get in the kitchen and we get in the house, people have always just saw that as our role. But now people are making money off of the eats, and it's going far. So we're really excited about her doing that. She'll be one of our first new businesses in our Forge District, moving in soon.
Well, and those places and how they look and how welcoming they are is really important as well. And
Yes.
I'm sure many mayors out there have facade improvement programs. We have a facade improvement program. We'll match a grant of up to $10,000 for improvements that our business owners are making to their facades. And we also have a carve out though for minority and women owned businesses where we give the grant. There's no match that's required on their part. And we've been able to use some of the funding through our community development agency because many of these businesses are located in formerly redlined neighborhoods where we have a really strong interest in helping to bring back the commercial districts in those areas with businesses that meet the needs of the neighborhood and of the community. And being able to tell someone, we're going to be able to give you that grant. And again, sometimes it's $5,000, $10,000 that can really make the difference. And so, you know, how were you able to jumpstart that commercial district?
One of the things that we have been doing is marketing to our public that we're coming. This is coming. Look forward to it. One of the biggest obstacles that any business has is marketing what they're selling, getting the word out, come by. So we have a program that I started during COVID because, you know, we're in the suburbs of Los Angeles. I'm about 65 miles east, although go be strong, Los Angeles and Altadena, come back. Come back. That's my hometown and I'm praying for it. We were able to start a program called Mayor Monday because people would tell me, Mayor, the mayor said we can't go outside. Well, Fontana has 50 parks. And I'm, well, what mayor are you listening to? I'm your mayor. Listen to me. Go outside. Take your family. Don't just stay in the house arguing with each other and breaking up. You can have recreational activities. As a result of that show, we are using that to help our businesses advertise what their particular products and services are. The other part is we're finding more women running their husband's business in manufacturing and industrial. And they're coming forward saying, don't forget about us. So we're working with them too.
Absolutely. And we can also make sure that we're patronizing those businesses when we have community events, when we're looking for swag for our swag bags, all great opportunities that mayors have to lift up these small businesses that are bringing vibrancy to our downtowns and are really an important part of our economy. So I look forward to hearing from all of you as we continue in this conference about the other ideas that you've implemented, and let's get out there and really support these women-owned businesses. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Please welcome Mayor Andy Ginther.
Good afternoon, friends. It is my high honor to welcome our next speaker, a man whom, without all the success and progress American cities have made over the last 4 years, simply would not be possible. American mayors could ask for no better friend and partner than the 46th President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden. It's easy now. It's easy now as cities are thriving to forget just how tough a spot we were all in just 4 years ago. It was a real-life nightmare. The most disruptive global event in our lifetimes had decimated our revenues, erased millions of jobs overnight, and taken far too many lives. American mayors had a partner. Working hand in hand, President Biden led the most productive 4 years for American cities in our history. He delivered the American Rescue Plan that brought us back from the brink. He then helped us catapult ahead with the bipartisan infrastructure law. He made history's greatest investment in the fight against climate change in the Inflation Reduction Act. And among many other achievements, he set in motion a great renaissance of American manufacturing with the CHIPS and Science Act. It is a record that will not only stand the test of time, but had profound, tangible benefits for the people we serve and the cities we love. Today, our cities are vibrant and brimming with optimism. And for that, we cannot thank you enough for your devoted leadership. Indeed, thank you is not enough. That's why today I'm proud to announce that we are taking the very rare step of presenting to President Joe Biden the United States Conference of Mayors Award for Distinguished Public Service. This is our highest honor, and there's no more fitting recipient than President Biden. Mr. President, your legacy of achievement and support for the working people of this country will forever be celebrated. On behalf of America's mayors, we honor you and thank you for your service and for your friendship. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden.
Mayor Ginther, thank you very much from Columbus, Ohio, for your leadership of this conference. Please have a seat if you have one. Thank you, Tom Cochran, for your remarkable stewardship of the U.S. Conference of Mayors for decades. I want to give a special thanks to his wife, Clarita, who I just met. She's running around here, feeling after she broke her hip. You guys doing well? Anyway, Tom, you and I have something in common. We both married way above our station. To my hometown mayor, John Carney. John, where are you? Out there? Wilmington, Delaware. Thank you, John. This guy's a true public servant. He just finished 8 years as a great governor and then decided to run for mayor. A special thanks to another great friend, the mayor of my second home, Scranton, Pennsylvania, Paige Cognotti. Paige. It's an honor to receive this award. As I measure the significance of the award based on the character and the consequences of the organization bestowing the award. The U.S. Conference of Mayors is an organization of character and consequence. And thanks to all of you for your partnership and the progress we made together these 4 years. I must say, the big reason we got so much done is because all former mayors have served in my administration. Steve Benjamin, Pete Buttigieg, Marcia Fudge, Keisha Lance Bottom, Mitch Landrieu, Tom Vilsack, Marty Walsh, and thanks to Tom Perez, a guy like me who has been my point person for all of this, but he's a county guy. That's tougher, man. I don't know, man. This is one of the last events that I'll be doing as president. And the reason I chose to be here is because of the first thing that I did as president was to speak to this conference. You know, as many of you know, maybe you weren't here then, but many of you know, I started my career as a local councilman. I only ran for the Senate because it was too damn hard being a local councilman. You know, people know where you live. They think you can solve every problem. They think you have more money than you do and more power than you do. You're in the front lines answering key questions of their lives. Is my neighborhood safe? My kid going to have the good fortune to be here in his hometown? Will there be jobs here? So many other questions. It matters. What you do matters, matters, matters. When we first met 4 years ago, the pandemic was raging, and our economy was reeling. 4 years later, our nation and our cities have emerged stronger than we were when we entered the crisis. I come here today for a couple reasons. First, my administration released a report summarizing the impact of our work together to invest in America. It all started with the American Rescue Plan, one of the most significant recovery packages in our history, to get us out of the immediate crisis of the pandemic and save thousands of lives. One of the most important decisions I made was to send money directly to you. Directly to you. I'm a local official. Governors are good guys and women, but when you send it to the state legislators, they divide it up before it gets to you. It goes directly to you when I do it. So you control the outcome. Then we passed the Invest in America Act. That's launching a new era of American possibilities. One of the greatest modernizations of infrastructure in our history we passed. New roads, bridges, clean water, affordable high-speed internet for every American. Now, each of you can list so many examples of the projects in your community. There's thousands of them. We also made the biggest investment in fighting climate change ever in the history of the world, not just America, because of you. And I think one thing we've all changed together, when I use the word here climate, I think jobs. I think jobs when I hear climate. We're creating hundreds of thousands of good-paying, clean energy jobs. We've proven you don't have to choose between protecting the environment and growing the economy. You're doing both. We have to keep pushing forward, push forward faster. There's no time to waste. I'm with you and your governors to make the devastating hurricanes and floods and tornadoes and wildfires, like the catastrophic fires and wildfires in California. Together, we push Congress for extra disaster relief funding, to rebuild homes and businesses across the Carolinas, to cover the full cost of replacing the collapsed Key Bridge in Baltimore, and so much more. At the same time, we work with you to upgrade the power grids, plant millions of trees, build resilient communities to withstand extreme weather. Not only build, but to build back better than before. Build back better. We also made the most significant investment in science and innovation. America invented the semiconductor. Now we're bringing those chip factories back home to America where they belong. I've stood with you in Columbus, Syracuse, Phoenix, and many more fields of dreams, where these fabs, these massive new factories the size of several football fields, are being built. And as I speak, you're going to create at least 125,000 good-paying jobs. And the jobs in these fabs are going to pay over $100,000 a year, and you don't need a college degree. You don't have to move from your hometown. You can stay where you are. If I could pause a minute, you know what's going to happen as well? When you build these factories, they're going to have to build more barbershops, beauty salons. I'm not joking. They're going to build grocery stores. They're going to build drugstores. It grows communities in a big way. We will soon be the only economy in the world to have all 5 of the top chip companies operating in America, creating thousands of jobs. And for the first time in decades, these new factories are producing the most advanced chips right here in America. These aren't just fabs, these investments are creating opportunities for entire communities, for small business, creating even more jobs, and so much more. I've kept my commitment to be president for all America, whether you voted for me or not. In fact, studies show my programs have delivered more for red states than blue states. The results are clear. 16.6 million new jobs, the lowest average unemployment rate for 50 years, a record 21 million new applications to start new businesses, and every one of those applications is an act of hope in your communities. Wages are up, inflation is down, and we passed the most significant gun safety law in 30 years. We're slashing overdose deaths by 26% last year. You did it faster than ever, and seizing record amounts of fentanyl, making life-saving Narcan available over the counter. Violent crime is now at a 50-year low because of you. The bottom line, you've produced an incredible 4 years. So much we got done together. It'll take time to see and feel, though. But the seeds have been planted. Will grow and they'll bloom for decades to come, and none of it could have happened without all of you. And that's not hyperbole, none of it. You know, we're not finished yet. Earlier today, I announced 3 major priorities that mark important progress in our country. First, after fighting Big Pharma for decades as a senator and then vice president as president, we finally beat Big Pharma. Instead of paying $400 a month for insulin, seniors now pay $35 a month. But that wasn't the only thing that happened when we passed the bill. Starting this month, the total prescription drug cost for seniors is capped at $2,000 no matter how expensive their drugs are. Even expensive cancer drugs that cost $10,000, $12,000, $14,000, they're not going to have to pay more than $2,000 a year. And finally, we gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower drug prices like the VA has been able to do for veterans all along. These negotiations are being implemented in phases. The first phase, negotiated lower prices for the 10 most expensive drugs for seniors, covering drugs for blood clots and so much more. And just this morning, I announced the next phase, the next 15 drugs subject to negotiations. Drugs that will treat cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and so much more, including Ozempic. Hard to say. But it really is an incredible drug. These reforms just don't save seniors money. They save the American taxpayer $160 billion. The taxpayer over the next decade. Why? That $160 billion in Medicare is saving for negotiating lower drug prices in Big Pharma doesn't have to be paid out by the government. $160 billion. Second, just over 100 years ago, a pioneering group of women proposed the Equal Rights Amendment to enshrine the principles of gender equality in our Constitution. Throughout my career, I've been clear, no one should be discriminated against based on their sex. And in order for the amendment to be ratified, it requires 3/4 of the states to ratify it. That benchmark was passed when Virginia ratified the ERA a few years ago. Today, I affirm the Equal Rights Amendment to have cleared all the necessary hurdles to be added to the U.S. Constitution now. The Equal Rights Amendment is the law of the land now. It's the 28th Amendment to the Constitution now. I consulted dozens of constitutional scholars to make sure that it was all within the power to do this. And the fact is, we did. And third, our cities are places for a second chance. Earlier today, I commuted the sentence of nearly 2,500 convicted nonviolent drug offenders. These individuals are serving a disproportionately long and harsh sentence compared to the sentence they would receive had they committed the crime today. After spending too long behind bars, these individuals will soon be reunited with their families and communities. With this action, I make no apology. I've issued more individual pardons and commutations than any president in U.S. history. There is more work to do, but when we allow our justice system to be a place of both accountability and mercy, it strengthens our cities and our nation as well, in my view. Let me close with this. Serving as your president has been the honor of my life. When my term in office is ending, the work continues. Your work continues. My farewell address 2 days ago, I talked how each of us must be guardians of democracy to restore the strength of our institutions of democracy. The presidency, the Congress, the courts, all have minimum requirements under the law to deal with those safeguards. And a free and independent press, and yes, local governments. The strength of our institutions depends on the character of leaders like you. In our time together, I'm forever thankful to have seen the strength, your strength and your character. And we need it now more than ever. The magic of America has been everyone has a fair shot. Everyone is determined to be able to be treated with dignity. No guarantee, just a fair shot. I've always believed America can be defined in one word. I remember being in the Tibetan Plateau with Xi Jinping. I met with him for over 90 hours alone. Traveled 17,000 miles with him. Very significant differences. He looked at me and he said, "Can you define America for me?" And I said in one word, possibilities. We're the only nation in the world, only nation in the world that's come out of every crisis we've ever gone in stronger than we went in. Only one. Look at the history. We're the only nation in the world that believes when we act together, there's not a damn thing we can't do. Only in America, we believe anything is possible. You just have to remember who we are. We're the United States of America. Nothing is beyond our capacity when we do it together and act together. God bless you all. Keep working together. We need you, we need you, we need you, we need you. And may God protect our troops. Thank you so very much.
This session is now adjourned. Breakout sessions start at 3:30. Have a great afternoon.